Right now, it's time to introduce our special guest, and after that, we will have the special awards presented by a special guest. So let's get on with that now. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome ex-England player Dave Watson.
Okay, I've not done this for a long time. I'll just run through a little bit of my career and then I can take some questions after that if you wish. I started at Notts County. Can we have all these kids taken out of here? No, I started in 1967 at Notts County. At that time, Notts County were in the 4th Division. And we didn't have a hope of getting out of that division, I don't think, at the time. But I signed in, I think it was February of '67, and I only played about 30 odd games for them because I got, well, somebody wanted me. Tommy Docherty was at Rotherham, and I went to Rotherham. And had a pretty good team there. Some former First Division players and a lot of kids that were pretty good. The thing is that Tommy Docherty, as you probably remember, he flitted around here, there and everywhere, and he only stayed a year at Rotherham. And well, I was happy because he doubled my wages, so I was quite happy about that. I didn't want him to leave, but and I was there. He was there a year. I stayed another 2 years, and in 1970 I went to Sunderland for nearly 73. That's the team. You're right. And I don't know. Did we play? Yeah, we played Notts County, I think, in one of the rounds. Yeah, and we at Sunderland, it was they'd just come down from the First Division, and they were trying to get back. And Alan Brown was the manager. You don't remember Alan Brown? Not the Alan Brown that was at Forest. He was at Sheffield Wednesday before he went to Sunderland. Anyway, Alan was a very hard man, very hard, and people were finding it difficult to like him. I liked him because he was no nonsense, and he ruled the team with an iron, fist. He was really strong. And then he got the sack after probably 2 years. Now at that time, when I was at Rotherham, I was playing centre half most of the time. But for the beginning of the season where Sunderland bought me, I played centre forward for about 15 games and scored 12 goals because I could jump a bit. And he actually bought me for as a centre forward, but also as a centre half. And he said we've got 2 players in for the price of 1. About 2 years, and Alan Brown got the sack. And then the manager, I'm sure you'll remember that manager with the hat on. Sorry? Anyway, at that time, we had a run in the cup, had a fabulous run in the cup, and won the cup in '73 with a great set of lads. And I was there 5 years in total. I'm just telling you that because it mounts up. How many times, how many years you play football, and then we were pretty restless, the players, because we still were in the second division, and a lot of the players wanted to be in the first division, as it was at the time. But I stayed for another 2 years, and then I went to Manchester City. They didn't have the money that they've got now, or I wouldn't be standing here talking to you probably. But a great club, and if people say to me now, who's your club? Although I'm pretty, well, I like Notts County, and I like them to do well, but my club is Manchester City. Anyway, I was at Man City for about 4.5 years, until Malcolm Allison, and you remember Malcolm Allison, I'm sure, he died not long ago. He came back as manager and basically ruined the club in a very short time. Sold all the internationals and got kids in and overpriced players from other clubs. He lasted about 3 years, I think, so 3.5 years. I went from there, I went to Germany, to Bremen, Werder Bremen. Not the best choice. I wouldn't have made it if I'd known that, but wasn't the best choice. And but I was back pretty quickly to Southampton, where Laurie McMahon was the manager, and I was there for three years, and had a great time with people like Kevin Keegan, Alan Ball, Charlie George, lots of household names. And after 3 years, I had a bit of a fallout with Laurie, which everybody did. But I took it to heart, so I told him he could stuff it. And so I went to Stoke for about 3 years. But this time, I'm still playing for England, which I've still been playing for England from '74 to '82. So. Even when I was arriving at the end of my career, at Stoke, that is, I'm still playing for England. And about 3 years, and then I went to play in the North American Soccer League, the NAHSL, that's right. And had a great time at Vancouver. I don't know if you've been into Vancouver, but if you could get a chance, it's a fantastic place. And I played there only for a year because it's short-termism in America. It's rife, they don't plan ahead at all. And after a year, I'll get round it in a minute. I normally can say it, but that folded after a year, and I already come back. I got a 2-year contract at Vancouver, so I was pretty disappointed that I wasn't going back. So I went to a good mate of mine who was manager of Fort Lauderdale, Keith Weller, and I'm sure you'll be able to remember Keith Weller. And Keith was a good mate, and we had 1 year there, and as again, the thing went bust, the league went bust. So I came back and played for Notts County. So it was a circle, that took 19 years since I played for Notts County in '67. And right through to '82. So obviously that's a very brief resume of what I've been up to for 20 odd years, and now I manage a database that is probably the biggest database of footballers in the world, and we farm them out, former players this is, all former players, and we farm them out to anybody that wants them. It's quite a big business, but that's what I do now, and I've done for the last 20 years since I retired from soccer or football. Okay, so of course I haven't gone into any detail. So if anybody wants to ask me a question about any of the clubs or any of the players within those clubs or any of the managers, feel free.
So we've got any questions for Dave? Stick your hand up. We've got one over here.
Dave,
Yeah.
I'd like to ask you, when you was a player, what was perhaps the most special moment of your career?
Well, I had a few special moments. I won the FA Cup with Sunderland. I won the League Cup with Man City, and won 65 England caps. Now, I'm sure. I didn't do that for applause, but I was just saying that there are lots of heights or peaks in there that it's very difficult to separate them from other games, because you remember games, personally you remember games that you played well in, and also you remember games that you'd actually done one thing in that game that set you against or above everybody else, like scoring a goal or clearing something off the line or doing something magnificent. Of course I did things magnificent all the time, as you can imagine. So there's not, I can say that when we went to Wembley in 1973 with Sunderland, we were playing against the mighty Leeds United, who are... I didn't play for them, but they were all conquering in Europe, and because we didn't fear them particularly. Yeah, we didn't fear them. Basically, we should have done, but we didn't. We just didn't take them too serious, and we won, of course, and that was a fantastic feeling. I can remember to this day things that I did in that match. Singular little things in that match, even when the ball's coming and you trapped it. I can remember things like that from games that are obscure, but it meant something to me. And I'm sure every player is the same. They have memories that basically not interesting to other people, but you remember them for some reason. You remember it, and I don't know how that happens. So that answers your question, I think.
Have another question? One over here.
Hi Dave, our team, we've won one game in 2 years. We've got lots of heart, lots of spirit, lots of determination. What can you say to our lads to keep them carrying on and give them a little bit of encouragement?
What I would say is, at any level in sport, you've got to give your utmost every time you play. And do not give up. That is a sin in sport. You don't give up. And in professional terms, there's three things. Is that three? No, there's three things that you concentrate on. A couple of those won't be appropriate to young kids, but what they are training. You train at the capacity that you can train at all the time. Don't shirk responsibility, and you eat and drink the right food. At kids level, it's different. But, and then the last thing is, which is probably the most important, is always have sleep and rest. If you don't rest, you burn out, and I know that. I've seen players burn out, that it's only because they just, any of those equations, or any of those things I've just told you, if one of those is out of balance, you will be out of balance. But just keep going, that's the thing. And if you practice, David Beckham didn't learn to put a ball in the top corner overnight. It took him 15 years to do that. So practice and practice and practice. And he realised he could do this, he'll do it, and he'll do it, and he did. And of course, lots of other players do that now because they practice. It's not a given, it's not a gift, from God that you have that. It's because you practiced.
Okay, I think we've maybe got time for one quick one, maybe one other. Yeah, okay. There you go, buddy.
What was the best goal you scored?
Best goal? I scored quite a few actually, about 60 in my career. But I remember one especially when I was playing for Fort Lauderdale, and it was a shootout. We'd drawn the match, and it was a shootout, and I was taking the last penalty. I didn't used to agree with shootouts, to be fair, and I took my boots off, and I sat with my boots off on the bench, watching the rest of the players go through this shootout. And basically, it was a draw, and I was taking the last penalty. And the shootout is that you start in the centre circle with the ball, you take it forward, and you shoot when you think you can beat the keeper. Now, yeah, it's an American style shootout. And I knocked it once and twice and 3 times, and the keeper came out to the edge of his box, and I chipped him from about 40 yards, and it's nestled in the back of the net, and I could have jumped over that crossbar if it would have been closer, because it was a fantastic feeling to score a goal like that, because I watched it float over the keeper and into the back of the net, and it was a wonderful feeling.
Right, I think I'm sure we've got lots of questions for Dave. Unfortunately, we're kind of pushed for time, and we've got quite a few things to go through. But let's give Dave's going to stay there a second. We're going to get the special awards presented by Dave. So a round of applause for Dave Watson, please.